Hello everyone, I'm Salar and welcome back to a tutorial for writing an real-time operating system. This is part 3 and third part, like part 1 and 2, is dedicated for brief introduction about Linux operating system and Linux terminal. Okay, in part number 2 we talked about copy file and directories, move file and directories, root permission, switch user, creating user, sudo and sudo users, and sudo group, and some other things. Okay, let's open terminal and pwd. We are in home directory ls-l. Okay, let's talk more about information from ls and -l option listing file in terminal. As you can see, a listing output has some column. First column, that it's for permission, and if this column starts with D, it means that it's a directory, and if it starts with dash or hyphen, it means this is a file. Okay, for this column. This column is about number of hard link, and we overwrite it that it's these two columns are so important. Why? As you can see, we can see here Salar and Salar. I have a user Salar and I have a group that its name is Salar. Okay, first is user that owned this directory. Okay, user that owned this directory, owner of this directory, and second is a group that owned this directory. Okay, we talk about groups and create some groups and why we need to dedicate, for example, one directory or file to a group or to a user. Let's to create a directory, mkdir, for example, and another time test. Okay, and cd to test, Control L, and here create a file that txt. Okay, if I enter ls-l, I can see that I have just one file in directory. It's file because it starts with hyphen and its name is file.txt. Last modified time of the file is here, and it's the volume of file, and this is the owner of file, user owner of file. Okay, the user owner of file.txt is Salar. So let's talk about first column and this part of first column that's highlighted now, rw dash. Let's go back to home directory ls-l, and in some directories I can see it's rwx, and what means rwx here? Okay, cd to test ls-l. What means rw and here x or dash? The first r here means that this file is readable by user. Okay, this file is readable by user. So if I open that, I can file.txt. I can open that, and for example, hello world. Okay, Control X, press Y and enter. And if I want to read this file, I can cat it. Okay, it means R means this file is readable by Solr. Readable by Solr. Okay. And as we see now, it's writable. Okay. And here W means this file is writable. As I write hello world in this file. Okay. Why am I? Sorry. Why am I? I'm Solr. Okay. So Solr can read file.txt, readable. Here, readable, and can write some contents in the file, writable by Solr. And dash means it's not executable. Okay, dash means it's not executable. And what's executable file? We know in Windows an executable file is .exe file. The suffix of file is .exe, and exe files in Linux are executable. But if you want to have an executable file in Linux, you should give executable permission here. Okay, this file just have readable and writable permission. You can't run this file. And if you have, for example, a compiled code, you should have an X here despite of the hyphen. Okay, and if you have an X here, your output file from compiler is executable. So this highlighted part is about user permission, Solr permissions. Okay, here is user permission. Solr can read and write file.txt. So let's change the permissions and the access of file.txt. For example, make it unreadable. So how can I do, and what's the command? chmod, change mode. Okay, we want to change the mode to access the permission of file. How can I make and file unreadable? Okay, we should. One of the is r minus u minus r, user unreadable. Okay, minus r. If I type plus r, it means make it readable, but it's readable now and we want make it unreadable. User minus r. Okay, what file? File.txt. Okay, if I press enter and another time ls-l, type ls-l, so r converted to dash. This means this file is unreadable by user. User can't read the content of file. Okay, if I press cat file.txt, it returns to me permission denied. Okay, so this file is unreadable now by user. And if another time change it readable, ls-l, I can see r returns here. Okay, so another time if I cat file.txt, I can read the content of file. Okay, for another instance, I can write here u plus x. This means make file executable. File.txt is a readable file and it's not an executable file intrinsically, but we can give a permission to that it's executable. If I write this command here and press enter, now ls-l, my file is executable. My file is executable by user. Okay, if this the file is transformed to green, this means that in mint terminal, this means that this file is executable. Okay, Another time if changed mode u minus x user unexecutable, u minus x user unexecutable, press enter ls -l. Another time it's white and file is unexecutable, it's dash. Okay, I can do this. Works for writable permission. For example, if I user unwritable, okay, user minus w, user unwritable, and press enter now ls-l. My file is unwritable, unexecutable, and just readable by user. Salah. Okay, so if I nano file.txt, I have a caution here. File.txt is unwritable. Okay, so if I add some, for example, point here and exit, Control X, press Y, press Y for approve changing, and press enter. It returns me an error writing file.txt, permission denied. Okay, and if I press Control X and don't save, cat file.txt, my contents didn't change. Okay, because the file is unwritable. Another time, make it writable. User plus w, user writable. Press enter ls-l. Now my file is readable and writable by user. Okay, now another time ls-l. I have an rw dash or x here, another 3 character here. It's about group permission. We will talk about that soon in this part, but this is every user permission. Okay, the owner of this file is Salah. Okay, it's group, and we will talk about that later. Okay, but the user owner and user ownership of this file is for Salah user. Okay, so let's switch to another user. For example, test. I have a test user. So where we are in home test, home Salah and test. If I press ls-l, we can see this file here is readable by any other user than Salah. For example, I'm test. This user is test, and this user just can read this file. Okay, because here say that the file is readable by any other user, but it's not writable by other user. For example, if I cat file .txt, I can read the file. Okay, but if I want change the file in test user, is unwritable. Okay, it's unwritable. And I can't change the content of file. Okay, press Ctrl X to exit. So can I change the permission of this file when I'm logging as test user? Can I change these permissions? Let's try that. Okay, change mode. For example, it means all of users or another users A. Okay, for example, plus W for file. Ch mode A, another user. or all of users plus w file.txt. I don't have this permission as another user. Okay, I can't change the permission of file.txt because the owner of file is Salar. Okay, but I can do that as sudo chmod a plus w and file.txt. I should enter password of this. Okay, now if I press ls-l, sorry, ls-l, now file.txt is writable by other users. W is here. Okay, so sudo users have a lot of permission, and you can do a lot of things when you are sudo by sudo command. So you mustn't give sudo permission to any users when you are manager in operating system Linux, and when you are Linux manager. It's dangerous, and you give a lot of permission to a sudo users. Okay, now another time exit to Salar ls-l. I want to unwritable file.txt for other users than Salar. I don't need sudo because the owner of user is Salar, and I'm now in Salar a minus w all of users than Salar unwritable. Okay, and name of file ls-l. Okay, I think this is right. Okay, sorry, if I want to change this part, the other users than Salar, I should write o minus other users, o minus or o plus file.txt. ls-l, yes. Okay, if I enter a minus or plus, this means all of users, even owner of file. Okay, so I shouldn't say o minus or plus. Okay, so I want to make it writable by users, so I type u plus w writable. Okay, ls-l. Now it's writable by user, writable by other users than Salar, and readable by group. Okay, make it like first and change mode other users unwritable. Okay, ls-l now, yeah, writable by user and unwritable by other users. We talk about group permissions later in this part. Okay, so how can I change the owner of a file? What's the command in Linux? chown. Okay, chown can change the user owner of the file. Okay, after that I should write the name of user that I want and name of the file. Okay, press enter. So as you can see here, if you want to change the permission of a file or directory, you need root permissions, okay, because you want to change the owner of a file. So right, last command by sudo, press enter, press password. No, okay, ls-l. Now the user that owned the file.txt is test. So if I want change mode and change the permission of this file, for example, user -w file.txt, I don't have the permission anymore because this file is for test. And now I'm logging as Solar. Who am I? I'm Solar. Okay, now I'm Solar. So if I switch to test user, enter password or pw that I'm in test ls-l, I've logged in as test, and this file is for test user and is readable and writable by test. Okay, so if I want to write to this file, nano file.txt, add some character to that, Control X, press Y and press enter. Now if I read that, now I've changed the content of this file. Okay, and if I want to change the permission of this file, I can use chmod, for example, o plus right other user writable file.txt, press enter, and I can do that because this file is owned by test and I'm now in test user. Another time ls-l, and here is writable by other users than test. Okay, exit from test and back to Solar, and give this file back to Solar user. Okay, file.txt. This oh, I need sudo permission. Okay. For first time that you use sudo in your terminal, you need to enter your password by, but after that you don't need to enter password because your terminal and your session save your password, and if you close your terminal and another time open that, you should enter password another time. But in every terminal that you open, you just need one time to type your password for sudo. Okay, now if I press ls-l, the owner of file is Solar. Okay, here. Okay, as we saw here, we can, for example, give writable permission to user, owner, and other user. But what can I do if we want to give write permission to other users, but not all of other users? For example, to 2 or 3 other users. What can I do? We can use groups. Okay, what's groups? Okay, groups. Group is a set of some users. Okay, 2 users, 3 users, or more than 1 users. Okay, 1 or more than users, you can package those and create a group. So Let me show, for example, the groups in my operating system. The command is get entity. Okay, and after that group. For example, this is my groups: Muse, UUCP, man, proxy, or for example, I have a soda group, the special group that the member of this group have root access. For example, Solar, test, and test one. Okay, all of user that I've created, Solar, test, and test one. All of those are sudo and sudo. Okay, and operating system gives root access to all of these users. Okay, so how can I create a group and give access to that? Okay, how can I create a group? Control L. If I want to create a group, I should use this command, group add. I want to add a group to my groups. Okay, for example, developers. I have a group that's name is developers. Okay. Sorry, if you want to create a group, you need a sudo permission. So the sudo user can create a group for managing your operating system. Okay, sudo group and developers. And if I another time I enter get and group, I can see I have a developer group here. Okay, I have a developers group here. Okay, now let's need to back to home directory. I'm now in home directory and make a directory. For example, its name is developer directory. Okay, if I ls-l, I have where is okay, dev directory, developers directory, and its owner is Solar, and group owner another time is Solar group. Okay, because I have a Solar as a group. Okay, when I create for example a user, the command automatically create a group with that name. I have a user group, so I have Solar group. The user owner of device driver developers directory is Solar, and group owner is Solar. Okay, so I want change the group owner. Okay, I want change the group owner. Control L. Like change all. It's sorry. Change owner. It's change the user owner of file. I should type change chgrp, change group of file. The developers. Okay, and the directory is developer directory. I don't have the okay, sorry. Developers. I don't have developers. Let me check that. Get into group. Developers. Control Shift V. Sorry, I need sudo permission. I missed that. I need sudo permission. Okay, now if I ls-l and press enter, now the owner group is developers. So Why this is important? It's useful. That's why we can add some users to this group, developers, and give, for example, writable access and writable permission to those members that are member in developers, and we can give permission just to those, not all of users or other users than Solar. Okay, so we now want to member some of our users in developer. For example, I want member Solar and test in developers. Okay, what can I do? Sudo, we need sudo permission, like before part in our tutorial we saw user mode group -a and capital G. What's the name of group? Developers, and I want to add Solar and test. I want to append Solar and test to this group. Okay, press enter. Sorry, what happens? Solar and test user mode developers, Solar and test user mode, user Solar and test. For example, I can do that by time. Yes, I can do that. Okay, so now Solar and test are a member of developers, and if I type get and group now in developers, I have two members, Solar user and test user. So control L ls -o. Okay. Here in dev directory, Solar can read, write, and execute content of these directories. The group, the member of developers, group is developers, can read, write, and execute the content of this directory, but other users than Solar and members of developers just can read this directory and can't add or delete any content to or from this directory. Okay, so Solar and test is in developers, and they can write in this directory. So let's do cd in dev directory, control L pwd. I'm in developers directory. Press for example, why am I'm Solar. So because I'm Solar, I am in a group of developers, and I can add some file to this directory. For example, touch file1 dot or another time solar.txt. Okay, ls/l. It's added. Okay, it's added to directory. So let's switch user to another member of the developers group. The password is incorrect. Another time. Okay, now why am I'm test. I'm a test user. I'm in dev directory. Test is one members of developers, and if I want to touch file, for example, test.txt, okay, it's created. Okay, it's created by Salar, it's created by test. In dev directory, I can add some file in the directory, for example, because Salar and test have this permission. So exit to Salar and another time switch user, this time in test1 user. Okay. Now, who am I? I'm test1. Where am I? I'm in dev directory. So here, if I want touch file, for example, test1.txt, I have no permission as test1 user. Okay, because test1 is not member of developers group. So if I exit and see here, -l, okay, in dev directory, Salar is owner, so it can write to dev directory. Okay, it can write to this directory, create a file in this directory, and group permission. I have writable group permission. So member of developers, another time Salar and test, can add some file in dev directory. Okay, but test1 is not owner of file, and so is not member of developers. So as we saw, it cannot add a file in dev directory. If I cd to dev directory ls-l, a file created by Salar, another file is created by test. Okay, and this file is for Salar group and it's for test group. When you create a file in dev directory, it's not for example, developers, it's for Salar and it's for test. The dev directory, its group owner is developers. So if I want to write in salar.txt, I can just write as Salar users and Salar group. The group member of Salar group is just Salar. Okay, so just Salar can change salar.txt. Okay, and just test can change text.txt because its owner user is test and it's a member of test group, and all other users than test can just read the text.txt. Okay, for example, I can add Salar to developers. Then Salar, for example, change grp. Okay, I need sudo permission, sudo ch change group and developers and salar.txt. Press enter and ls-l. Now the owner of file salar.txt is Salar and it's member of developers group. Okay, group owner is developers, and now Salar and test can write because writable by group members, Solar and test can write in solar.txt, but in test.txt just test can write. Okay, as I said in first of this part, in ls-l we have some columns. First columns is about permission, and first character is about this is directory or file. If this was D, it would be a directory, but this is dash and it's text. As you can see, solar.txt, it's a file. Okay, it's a file. Sorry, it's a file. And after that, rwx, this part of first column is for user access, it's for group access, and here is for other users than owner access. Okay, it's about number of hard link, it's not important now. It's the owner, user owner, it's the group of file, this is 0, this is the volume of file, and this is last time that file is modified or creating time of file, and it's the name of file. Okay, for last part of this tutorial today, I should say about change mode. We said U for user, O for other users than owner of file, and A is for all of users, even the owner of files, and G is for group. Okay, for example, if I type change mode G minus write unwritable, group unwritable, for example, for solar.txt, press enter and ls-l. Now solar.txt is unwritable by group members, developer members, but here was writable by developer members. And if I type G plus W solar.txt, here is writable by developers member. And I have a tricky method for changing the permission of a file or directory. Let's describe it here. Plus. Okay, let's describe it here. For example, we see that a permission, for example, here, first is dash, that is a file, not directory, for example, rw dash, and for example r dash dash. This means that it's for file, it's for user, it's for group, and it's for other than owner. For example, here is readable by user, writable by owner, user owner, and not unexecutable by owner, user owner, and just like this for group, and it's readable by other users, and unwritable and unexecutable. How? So, for example, we see that we can make it writable for other user with ch mode, and for example O plus W file.txt. Okay, we have a tricky method despite of this part. We can say ch mode and a number here. Okay, what's the number? For example, I can, despite of this part, okay, this part, I want to make it like this, rw dash rw dash and rw dash writable for other users. Okay, I can write a number here despite of O plus here. Number, what's number? 1 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 0. If I type it as a octal number, what's the octal number? 6 6 and 6. If I type 6 6 6 and 5.txt, now the file.txt is writable by other users than owner. Okay, so for example, if I make my file unwritable by group and writable by other users, I should do that in two parts. For example, group unwritable, after that another command with other plus writable. But by this number I can do all of my works in one step. For example, I want to create my file readable for user, unwritable for user, unexecutable for user, unreadable for groups, writable for groups. It's not a real permission, but it's a practice. Writable by group member and unexecutable by group member, and unreadable, unwritable, and unexecutable by others. I can write ch mode 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0. It's 4, it's 2, it's 0. Okay, 4 2 0 file.txt. Okay, so if I type ch mode, for example, solar.txt 4 2 0, and press enter and ls-o, now is readable just by Solar, writable by member of the developers, and unreadable, unwritable, and unexecutable by other users, as you can see here. And if I type, for example, chmode 777, this means 111, 111, and 111, rwx, rwx, rwx to, for example, file.txt. No, file.txt has all of permission with 777. Yes, dash. It has all of permissions. Okay. So using number here, despite of for example g-w, can decrease your works, can ease your works, and you can give all of your permissions just by one number. Okay, it's an octal number because its digits is between 0 or 7, 0 1 2 3 5 6 7. It's octal number. Okay, because 3 byte is between 0 and 7. It's an octal number. Okay, so this is a tricky method and you can use that. But if you have root or sudo permission, you override all of this permission and you have all of permission. Okay, when you do a work as a sudo, you override this permission, and as a sudo user you have all of permission. So so be careful when you want to grant a user, you want to grant to a user and make it sudoer. Okay, sudoer user like root user has a lot of permissions, and first it override these permissions. Okay, when you want to override these permissions, you should be root user or you should be in sudoer group. Okay. Okay, enough for this part, and see you soon. Goodbye.